How are we doing, everybody? Welcome back to the Shaun Attwood channel. I'm Ron Swanson, and sadly, I have broken the converter for my micro USB to USB-C. Again, I'm going to invest in a better one because these ones keep snapping. So I do apologize. All of my viewers who get frustrated with me playing with my hair, you can have a night off from having to be triggered by me playing with my hair all night. And I just want to say, Ark, thank you so much for being here, and it's great to meet you. Introduce yourself to everybody, and again, thank you so much for giving up your time and being here, brother.
Thanks. My name is Arkeem Ra, and I am basically an ancient entity that was incarnated here as a human being, and I was found through secret Black Ops government programs, namely the Talented and Gifted program. And I've served in numerous Black Ops programs that involve human cloning, consciousness transferal, and MK Ultra multi-personality alter programming. So I am known by most people as a survivor of what is notoriously known as the Montauk Project.
Okay.
Project Phoenix 2, which was a time travel warfare project that was based out of Camp Hero at Montauk, Long Island, New York.
Okay, wow.
That's where my background is in this human cloning thing. Essentially, Project Phoenix 2, it started with Project Phoenix 1, and this was basically figuring out human cloning and how to make somebody live forever by transferring their consciousness to a clone body. And then they used that to, along with the multi-personality alter programming, to create basically super soldiers, spies, couriers, sex kittens, sex slaves. Just basically, they have figured out how to program people's minds like a computer and clone them and put them into different bodies and make them perform different tasks. And a lot of these people are kidnapped at birth, like myself, and programmed to basically do a lot of the dirty work for these people. And so that's basically where my background is. And it's kind of a very deep, multifaceted explanation as to how I even am involved with this stuff and know Epstein. But it basically starts with the fact that my consciousness is on file with the CIA, with the government. I was confirmed by former CIA archivist Doris Neely. She said publicly on the record during an interview that I did with her on a podcast called Nachtwaffen Pilot with Penny Bradley. Basically, she confirmed that she had seen my files, that she had put them in to the computer for the CIA. Not only that, part of the reason why she was discharged from the CIA is because they said that she was not keeping the information safe, and I think there might be some truth behind that, because she said that she had my files during this interview, and less than a week later, her house burned down. So there is a background that I have in this. I'm not just blindly stating this stuff. My testimony has been verified by CIA archivists, and there are many different survivors of the Montauk Project. Many of us know and remember each other and are able to corroborate on each other's testimony.
Ark, I'll be honest with you, that was quite a heavy insight into your story. Before we move forward with this, can you just for the audience and for myself, and I don't want you to go back and re-traumatize or go into anything too deep, but could you give us an overview of the Montauk Project?
Essentially, I was taken at various points in my life for programming, probably at birth. I don't remember because, I was a baby, but to be honest with you, I don't know where because this is like artificial life that I'm living, and it's not my first life, I don't think. So it gets really confusing, honestly. But essentially, I was taken at birth. I was programmed, and and this is just kind of the model for everybody that was taken into the program. And we take them again around 5 to 7 years old, program them, and then they'd be taken again to be programmed at about 15, 16. And there's a lot of different programs that do this. For instance, the Gary McKinnon, when he hacked NASA and he found that program called Solar Warden. Solar Warden is based out of Fort Warden in Washington, just north of me. and it's a real government project, and a lot of the people that serve in Solar Warden are people like me, who are DID Altai-programmed individuals that have advanced capabilities that they basically searched out for through the Talented and Gifted program. So that's why they asked all those weird questions and stuff like that. In the Talented and Gifted, the tones that they played in the speakers were trying to figure out if you already had alters, and if there are already programs that put you in this reality for any purposes. If you had alters already, it would pull out those alters and then they would interrogate them. And that's what happened to me. One talented program found me. Talented Gifted program found me. I already had alters, and they started asking him questions, and basically they started programming me. And one of the examples that I'll give of one of the things that they did to me is I was on a table. They hooked up electrodes to me, so they could electrocute me. And there was a TV that I could not see. And they explained to me that it was going to blink and flash colors. And I was to say what's on the television. And me, a terrified child, I said, I can't see it. So how can I say it? And the guy says to me, we know what you are. You're a fucking monster. You're going to be able to say the colors. So basically, beep, the color would appear. And I didn't know what to do. They'd shock me. Then it beep. Color would appear and I couldn't see it, and and every time I didn't do it, it would shock me harder, and it got to the point eventually where I started guessing, and then it kind of did this fight or flight thing, and this is how they activate your psychic abilities. That and drugs, they use drugs as well, they cocktail of drugs that they put you on. But basically, I was able to see the colors, remote view them basically. And they use that ability for various different things. But basically, I've been used like a piece of military equipment. That's essentially been my job. And I had a sex kitten altar. I guess I could technically say I still have a sex kitten altar. This is something that in the community of people who talk about this, they don't like to talk about the fact that men have sex kitten altars too. But that's very unfortunate and true reality. And I had one named Bartholomew. And with me, I'm not with the whole point of the altar programming. Like I said, is you do your dirty work for them, and then you don't even know you're doing it. And all these different things can happen to you, and you can be completely unaware. And they don't have to pay you and all this stuff. And I remember being a sex slave. That was brought to Epstein Island. The memory is like not super duper clear, but I remember like specific details, and have found things that it like verified. Like my testimony is not just like some sort of like my reel that went viral with 3 million views or whatever it is now. I found that information because I knew where to look. You know what I mean? And it's because of what happened to me. And it's really complicated, the story with Epstein, because he was basically brought into his, Elon made that post about people get abused and they get put. It's kind of true. Even Epstein was abused and put into his role and stuff like that.
Let me ask you a couple of questions, Ark, if you can, right?
Yeah.
Because first of all, when you talk about being hooked up to these electrodes, being told to guess these colors, the colors aren't there, the shocks get more and more to try and release this psychic ability. Do you know, I talk about this. Have you seen the first of the new Deadpool movies?
No.
Right. Well, there's a scene in that where they stick him in this tube and they want to bring out the mutant power, right? And they do it through removing all the oxygen from the tube right before you suffocate. They put the oxygen back in, and they kept him in there for 48 hours doing this until this mutation came out. Mm-hmm. And it seemed to be a nod to a lot of these experiments where you're held captive, you're unable to move, and you're having this pain or shock put through your body to try and force these abilities out of us. Why do you think is it because we've so repressed these abilities, or is it because they've put a cap on what we can do, and this is just the method that breaks their code that they've put in us to suppress these things?
To be honest with you, I couldn't answer that question.
Yeah.
I just know what they did to me. I know that they've developed like a program and it works. You know, I am clinically diagnosed. I see a therapist. I have dissociative identity disorder. This means that I have these alters, these different personalities. And essentially, when you get that, when you're diagnosed with that, it's your programming is broken down enough for you to be aware. You're not supposed to be aware that you have different personalities and that you have, you know, dissociative identity disorder. And that's what makes me unique. This is happening to people all over the world. You know, the Montauk Project, you know, Al Bielek and Preston Nichols went public about it 20, 30 years ago. And they talked about the fact that they believe at least 10,000 kids, 10,000 children perished in the project. And not only that, my good friend Brian Minnick, who he's got a channel called Montauk is Strange. He worked with the History Channel, and he's done a lot of investigating, and they found evidence of a mass grave there at Montauk Point.
Wow, okay.
And they've also found evidence for the fact that they were using enough water and electricity for a small city. And there's so many. He's got a book as well, Montauk is Strange, that you can find. There's so much evidence. He's kind of the guy that I always point at when people are like, where's all the evidence for this stuff? I'm like, I talk about my experiences and what happened to me, but this guy over here, Brian Minnick, he's documenting all the evidence that the Montauk Project was real.
Yeah, I'm sure if terrified 7-year-old Ark was able to grab a bunch of files out of the Montauk.
People always ask me for pictures. It's like,
right, yeah, of course, because when you're kidnapped by the government as a child, they give you a disposable camera to document all of the horrendous abuse that they put you through, right? I mean, it's an impossible situation for you. Do you see what I'm saying? It's an impossible situation. But look, we're here for you, brother. And let me ask you something, right? Sure. DID is the spearhead of weaponized tools that's used against survivors of SRA and all kinds of abuse, like especially the type you've been through. What's the possibility of someone like yourself who was involved in a project like this, where DID is being used to mask the installation of other consciousnesses that have been downloaded? And if that's probable, would you have the memories, do you think, of that other existence? Because I wonder how many people have things stored in them that have been put there because the government is twisted and just wants to see what happens. You know what I mean? I can't give you a reason other than just to see what happens, unfortunately, Ark. But do you think it's possible that some cases of DID are purposely seen as DID, but it's actually pre-installed other consciences as opposed to it being a split in some cases?
There's a bit of a difference.
Yeah, okay.
Because we live multiple lives. And so if you have maybe a past life version of yourself that comes through or something like that,
okay,
that you could call that maybe an alter, because it is an alternate version of you. But I would say that's your past self. And the alters, they're designed, they're artificially designed personalities. Okay. And the guy who invented this, he's went public about it. He's written books about it. His name's George Esterbooks. And he basically publicly stated that he created Manchurian candidates for MK Ultra during MK Ultra for the military. It's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde is the evolution of it. They've been doing it, and I know people like, for instance, like Penny Bradley, who's my biological mother. She doesn't have the same kind of DID alter programming I have. I have Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde programming.
Okay,
and it's so basically, I call myself Arkeem Ra. That is the name of the system. I have many different alters, probably at least 20 or 30 that I've found, and I think I might be being conservative there.
Okay.
And Jeffrey and Jacob are the main alters, and Jeffrey is the version of my life, like kind of who you're talking to now, technically, right?
Right.
And Jacob is the dark version of Jeffrey, who was at Montauk, who did all the dirty work and all the took all the trauma on and everything else, and then covered it up for me so that I could continue to live. And this is intentional programming, and you'll actually see that I'm almost certain that that Jeffrey Epstein had the same kind of programming, because I remember he was like that. I remember that he was really nice or really mean, Like we're not really ever in between. And there's even a shot of him in the files of him reading Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. And I don't think that's in there for no purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's in there for no reason. And so, they've designed these altars for a lot of different reasons. And one of the things that I kind of want to go into with the Epstein stuff, the main subject of this would be, I kind of had to give you guys like a ground up example, like how I got into this to begin with. But we're going to get into sex kitten altar programming and cloning centers, because that's what's going on with Jeffrey Epstein. He was creating...
I've got one more question for you before we get onto that. And I'm sorry to keep
on answering. We'll get there.
I'm sorry. I'm kind of blown away by all of this, and my whole wheelhouse is the occult when it comes to this side of things. And
Yep.
When it comes to your experience, was there ever anything evolving around deities or...
Absolutely.
Okay. Can we, or let's just
Project Ibis. You hear this?
Okay. No, please. I would love to hear it, brother. Yeah.
Project Ibis is basically the Temple of Set, the Mothers of Darkness did a ritual. Michelle Lamy, Aquino,
Michelle Lamy. Oh, man. We are talking the same language now, Ark.
Yeah, Michelle Lamy, Aquino, his wife Lilith, Maria Abramovic, Hillary Clinton. I can't remember. I don't know exactly who was all there, but I know these are the kind of people that were involved in this. And they did a ritual where they started bringing in ancient gods from mainly Egyptian gods. That's why it's called Project Ibis, but just gods in general. And they started, through black magic and sex magic, manifesting these gods in human form. My biological father was involved in this, and he's a man by the name of Carl Emmerman. So my mom and dad in this life aren't really my mom and dad. My real mom in this life, her name is Penny Bradley. She's also a whistleblower. And Carl Emmerman, who was a U-boat Nazi from World War II, is my biological father, and he was part of the sex magic ritual to incarnate me in human form. I'm connected to the energy of Ra. I don't even understand it entirely, but I know that like Sobek, John Whitberg is another person who's public and talk about this. They talk about how they're an incarnation of Sobek, and there's all these different people that were in Montauk that are connected to different ancient deities and entities and stuff like that. Hera was there. Zeus was there. They incarnated different gods in human forms, and then they like controlled them with mind control and stuff like that. And it was called Project Ibis, and Aquino was intrinsically involved with this. Christy Campbell is another person who's public about this. She's written like an entire book, I think, on Project Ibis, or at least she's talked a lot about it a lot in her books, the Project Ibis aspect, and she remembers it a lot better than me. But yeah, we were incarnated in from what I understand through Christy, because I was reading a chapter of her book that she sent me recently because I was in it, and it talked about this. I guess a lot of us Montauk kids were actually brought over to Montauk from the Project Ibis and the Mothers of Darkness thing. So that might have been my initial getting brought in. I don't remember. That's part of the whole thing, is they wipe your memories and stuff like that. But I do remember a lot about Montauk, and we've corroborated a lot, with different people. Another person that's been public for a long time, longer than me, is Joseph Powell, and he ended up having a really intrinsic role in that whole project. It's a very long story, but yeah, they were incarnating gods in human form and to turn them into super soldiers and stuff like that. And also to use them in rituals and stuff like that. Like for the cloning aspect of this thing, they do a ritual on me where I wake up in a coffin and I hear them all chanting and stuff like that. I'm at a castle. I think it's the Mothers of Darkness castle. And they literally basically like torture me and eat me alive during like this full moon. And they use cloning so they can do that over and over again. And so like that's kind of what I'm getting at here, is like, historically, all this information, right? Let's go back 6 months ago. 6 months ago, you couldn't talk about baby eating and people
Yeah.
drinking blood and all this stuff without sounding ridiculous. All right, look where we are now. So I hope people are warmed up enough to finally maybe listen to me. Because, like, this stuff is really fucking happening. They're kidnapping children through the
Yeah.
public school program. You know, I was taken out of school and tortured. That happened while I was at school, dude.
Yeah.
Johnston Elementary, Appleton, Wisconsin.
Do
Like,
you know, Ark, exactly what you just said there? I think I said it last night or the night before. I said, if the Epstein case doesn't make everybody look at what we still consider a conspiracy and look at it in a different manner now, that we've got child unaliving beef jerky billionaires, like people like you, Ark, these stories, they are the next veil to be lifted. And those are much darker secrets to keep secret than what has come out in the Epstein files. A weird guy on an island who's just a big pervert, that's okay. But a global billionaire who's part of a syndicate of cloning and eternal life and the manifestation and the bringing forth
yeah,
of God.
look at the people who he surrounded himself with. It screams it.
Bro, for a start, the only thing I can say about Jeffrey Epstein is he was a motivated individual. I don't know if the man ever slept. I have no idea. But he was involved with everything. Right? And when you talked about the Egyptian gods, and I'm just going to put, is it okay if I put up a Egyptian symbol? That's not going to do anything.
Sure.
Okay.
That's fine with me.
Because this is Naomi Campbell's island that her billionaire Russian boyfriend bought her with the Eye of Ra.
Mm-hmm.
Just slapped in the middle of it. Or is it the Eye of Horus? I can't remember. But that's Egyptian based, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
they're real obsessed with that time period.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And you know, I don't entirely understand why yet. I know some of it's probably deep down in my memories. I do understand why. But they're really obsessed with that and Atlantis. You know what I mean? And one thing I can tell you too, about Jeffrey Epstein and what I remember is I do remember the few times that he was nice to me. Well, he was, like I said, he was Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. He would be nice to me. And then the next thing you know, I'm in some crazy situation where I'm getting graped. Am I doing? I'm saying it right for the internet. Yeah. And, he brought me to like some like tropical place where there was like remnants of like an Atlantean city under the water, and you could like go down there and like look at it, you know what I mean, snorkeling or whatever. And he brought that. I remember he really being excited to show me that.
Yeah.
And he really intrinsically connected to this whole Atlantis thing. And I looked into something, the connection between, I was trying to find a connection between Jeffrey Epstein and Appleton, Wisconsin, where I'm from, because, you know, there's another person that's public now. His name's Eddie Mead. He just started a podcast. And actually helped me find some of the information that I found. And sorry, I'm getting distracted. The thing that I was trying to say is I was looking into the Jeffrey Epstein Appleton connection, and he had a connection to Gulfstream, which is, this is where it gets fucking weird. I almost got a job there. And the only reason why I didn't get it is because I had a job at a school in Appleton where they were taking me into these programs again to train kids. I was training kids for Solar Warden, dude. I swear to God. I'm sorry. I'm saying way too much at once. But
it's okay. Listen, it's okay.
Yeah, but basically, he bought 3 jets from Gulfstream. And what I know about Gulfstream is they're manufacturing spaceships. All right? Underneath. Appleton is called Appleton because ton. And then there's little chute and big chute. Chutes are portals. There's 2 fucking huge portals that spaceships can travel through underneath Appleton, Wisconsin. All right? And there's a whole fucking underground city down there with it's like they cloned Tyrone. A bunch of the people that are on the surface, they have clones of them down there, autonomous, like zombied out. And it's like a shopping mall for people who understand this technology and ET. Because humans are slaves for ET in the breakaway. I have been slaves for aliens, dude. Like, people don't understand how fucking deep this shit goes. And I really want people to understand, because they're about to turn on their AI god that they're manifesting, and the fucking aliens are about to show up. That is gonna happen by galactic decree. If you turn on a fucking supercomputer and make a new super intelligence that's connected to every fucking computer on Earth and every camera on Earth and all this shit, They have to show up. Why do you think that they're telling us about it in the news? Why do you think they're highlighting, speeding up this and trying to get us to understand all this shit? And with the aliens coming, you know how the Aleister Crowleyan thing of you have to show your deception to them? That's something like, oh shit, the aliens are gonna try to say we didn't show them. We gotta show them. Like it's literally why this is all happening.
Yeah. Okay. So
sorry, I just went off
bro,
kind of
good.
on a tangent.
No, you're good. The community is quite well versed in about 90% of what you're talking about. So, you're amongst friends here. So let's just do a wee U-turn here onto the human cloning side of things. The extending human life, living forever, immortality, and it is the Christmas present you get for the billionaire who's got everything, right? It is the final step above the common man. It's the eternal bloodlines. It's, however you want to frame it, people who are watching, if it's, they're unaliving the babies and that's making them last longer, whatever you want to summarize it, there is a want and a desire and a drive for billionaires to continue existing and continue their reign of terror for those who choose to do so. And I imagine this is where we're heading into now, Ark, right? Which is the cloning and the downloading of people's minds, right? And that is what, because there was a Netflix show, right? It was a Artificial Carbon or something like that, or something like that.
Altered Carbon. They show how it all works.
Exactly, right? Mm-hmm. And just tell people, because obviously we all believe that they put out messages and they put out their plans for us all to see so they can rub our faces in it. And that's what we're witnessing in a lot of these movies and series, right?
There's a show called Inside Job.
Okay.
Right? Follow me here. The last episode of Inside Job, mind you, this came out after I went public and said this basically is what happened to me. It's a little bit more complicated because my whole life was literally artificial from birth up. But basically the last episode of Inside Job is there's two secret agents that are working for the underworld. And the secret world, right? The breakaway society that's within our own. And they're like, he's like, I want to escape this. I love you. I just want to live a life with you. But as long as we have these memories and all this information, and we can't ever be safe. He's like, I got these memory wipe things. I got deep fake photos of us living a life in Appleton and stuff like that. And like a fake history and everything like that. And we can give ourselves implanted memories and just pop ourselves there and just be happy. That's what I fucking did, bro.
Whoa.
That's what I did. Didn't work because they found me and started kidnapping me and putting me in more programs, which I should have been able to fucking figure out that was going to happen. But, yeah, that's literally what I did. And not only that, they put it out after my testimony. After I said that. That didn't come out before me going public. That went out after I said that I'm in these programs and Appleton's a weird place. And I've told people Truman Show vibes. But for multiple people, because they control their lives, it's like a place where they have assets like me, and they try to keep them there in Appleton. And there's a lot of places like this. There's a lot of Appletons in the world. It's just one of them. But they keep us all there, and it's like, far enough away from Milwaukee and Chicago and everything else to where like no one really has a reason to go there. So like as long as you don't leave that much, you're never going to run into a cloning yourself somewhere else that they have.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt you get questioned on your story because you're a man? Do you think that people are so primed to hear these?
I want to give you an example of this. This is great. I love this. So Preston Nichols was the first person who really went public about this, and he was probably the most prolific serial abusers of children to ever exist. I remember him doing stuff with his dog with me. The guy that was fucking sick. He was disgusting. And one of the things that was really interesting that he did with the Montauk Project is when he talked about it, he said it was a time travel. He explained it all. It was a time travel project. We went back to ancient Rome. We did all the shit. We changed history. But he always called us the kids the Montauk Boys. The Montauk Boys. The Montauk Boys. He never talked about girls. And everybody always wonders why now, like moving forward, because there's all these people who are public about being Montauk time soldiers, and a lot of them are women. And dude, the reason why is because people don't. It's kind of fucked up, but if you get assaulted as a man, even if you're a boy, it's like there's a societal thing where it's like, that's your fault. You should have fought back. You're a man. You're not a defenseless woman. And also,
You're all
it's
right, bro.
just
If you need a minute, don't. If you need a minute, bro, just take a minute, my G. I know. Let me just. I'll put this up on the screen, brother. So just take a moment. Don't go back into anything else that's going to be triggering, brother. The reason I was asking is survivors of institutional abuse, home, like the traditional horrors that go on in families. There's such an people, their voices don't seem to be heard, and this is the realness of abuse and these twisted governments. You're all right, brother. You got this. You got this.
that's really kind of you to do that, because
Hey,
I feel like a lot of people like almost are like trying to make like some sort of weird trauma porn
no,
out of what's happening to us. And
no,
you actually, that means a lot to me that you don't want me to go there.
no. I don't. I don't. That's not what we're here for. You don't have to go through. I have spoken to enough people who have survived things that they can't even get people to believe, and people can't see the pain and the suffering in someone's eyes. And
Yeah.
I'm not here
Dude,
to cap.
they
I'm not here to give them what they want to
they
see.
stole my children from me, dude. Like, they stole my kids from me. And people don't want to believe it because there's cloning and time travel. Like, wake the fuck up, you fucking cavemen.
Yeah.
No offense.
I get
It's not fire, and you're not a fucking caveman. All right? You don't need to go ooga booga, no, and run away from it.
Yeah.
Go bury your head in the sand and pretend it's not real. It's fucking real. They're cloning people, and it's in the files. They're cloning babies so that they can fucking, you know what?
Yeah.
Babies, bro.
Yeah.
Like, if that doesn't fucking get people to finally understand the depths of what they're willing to go to, I don't know what will. Why does he bring in Britney Spears to a neonatal clinic? That's babies, dude.
Yeah.
It's a baby. Yeah. How does he have a baby Britney Spears unless he's fucking cloning her? And it's in the files. Cloning is in the files over and over again.
Oh yes, it is.
Like, why was he so interested in cloning unless he was doing?
Let me ask you something. Right. So there was something with the Montauk project that you mentioned. You said there were speakers and there were sounds playing. Now, we were doing a show last week and we were talking about a friend of Jeffrey Epstein who happened to be a very, very well-versed neuroscientist, the people that study the brain, right? And it was the effects of music on babies. And all of these mothers gave them access to their babies in the hospital. Of course, they wanted to be part of some lovely, does this music help my baby? But when you break that down, that's just playing a sound wave, okay, or a programmable tone or sound to a baby. And it freaked me out. And then we have your testimony about the sound programming and the lights flashing, and DNA is what they would be given access to here, because the doctor was allowed to do the pinprick on the baby's feet. Now, I've had babies. It's one of those things, doctors do that to make sure, I don't know, doctor reasons, right? But it sounds like we were just giving these people access to an endless amount of child DNA for these individuals to carry on what they're doing.
I went into the Lifeboat Foundation, right? In my reel that I'm sure everybody that's here has probably seen the reel where I talk about how he was connected to the Lifeboat Foundation. They build all these underground cities, like, and you know how they have all these different companies and shell companies and stuff like that. Well, Life Touch is the company that always took pictures of us when we were kids and stuff like that.
Right? Yeah.
What do you fucking think they're doing with that? Use your brain. What do you think? That's a catalog.
Right.
It's a fucking catalog, dude.
Do you know what's crazy?
Yeah.
If they've got the photograph and they've got the DNA, it is a catalog. It is a actual catalog.
And then
where you're like, I will clone this one, please. I will clone this one, please. I'll have 2 of child.
And they have. So get this. Let's get into what this was all leading to. So they have these things called dream tunnels. Okay. Dream tunnels are underground facilities that have cloning. They have a full staff. They have people that literally live there and work there and never leave. And basically, dream tunnels are, it's a sex trafficking thing, and they use node technology. So if you are victimized by node technology, you have chips in your brain. They put chips in your brain. I got a chip in my brain. All right.
Okay.
And they're able to take me through just sleep. They don't even, like, certain groups, if they have the technology that can catch you through this chip thing, they can just take me when I'm sleeping.
So they can effectively just dial up into your consciousness and then shift that consciousness to where they need it and then shift you back.
Yeah, so get this, man. Yeah, so I uncovered this thing, and I did a whole show with this guy named Daniel Sala on his channel. Not Michael, Daniel. There's two of them. And it was a Japanese thing. I don't want to go into it too much because it's dangerous, kind of. But basically, there's these pageants that they have in Japan. They have like the idol culture, and then there's the junior idol culture. And a lot of these memories that I got of like the node technology and stuff was actually working for these people, forcibly being forced to work for these people in a different altar. And it's called node consciousness transferal. And basically, I've seen an advertisement. All right. I remember being in the room when they would show it to clients. All right. I just want you to understand how fucked up this is. All right. Because people are this is going to be, I'm really glad that I have eyes on this, because this is literally, I saw this advertisement. I don't know where it came from. Can't understand exactly who made it. I found this dude I can't remember his name right now, but he works for NASA, and I'm pretty sure, and he's involved in the moon, and I'm pretty sure that's the guy that's involved. Like I said, it's in the show if you find the show on the internet. But basically, there's an advertisement where it shows an old man, and he's all he's like goes like this and stuff like that, and there's just like the node thing, and it's like this, looks like half an egg, but it's flat on the top, and there's like a kind of like a display on the top of it, and there's two little, and they're connected to wires so you can charge them, but there's two little metal like bead things, and they're magnetic, and when you get the implants, they're right here in your temples, and you put them right there, and it shows the guy go to. It shows the guy go to.
All of this from a technological, like if you were to sit and draw a diagram of all of this, this is so real, right? Once you figure out how to transfer a consciousness, right? Let's just look at that as an MP3. Okay, you got an MP3 file and it's in folder 1 on your laptop, right? You develop a home network, so you go up to your PC upstairs and you connect to the network and you grab it from the laptop and drag it over to folder 2 on the computer. That is what we're talking about here with consciousness, so everyone understands. Because
thank you,
bro, it's and once you figure out how to show you, I just
want to fucking tell you the rest of this advertisement, and I'm going to warn people. Trigger warning. It's fucking sick. It's really bad.
Dude, we just got to watch some words we use. Other than that, the context is fine.
I can say it. It's like I'm allowed to say it on the internet. I'll use liberty to not say certain words, but basically, it shows him wake up in his clone body, and there's a little girl.
Okay.
And he's assaulting her and stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And then it, like, you hear like someone's calling him, and he wakes up and he takes it off, and he goes downstairs and he has dinner with his family, and that same little girl is sitting there having dinner with him.
So whose consciousness?
Can you just fucking?
Yeah. So are you telling me that is it the little girl's consciousness that was taken away so she didn't remember it, or was he manipulated with another conscious to do that to the little girl?
When she woke up down there, so time is kind of not like a thing. Like, they can take her consciousness that night or the night before, and have her wake up there. And even though like she's not, like, they don't have to have their consciousness put down there at the same time. They just have it on file, and they'll have it ready, and they'll pull it up, and then when he comes down there, it'll be ready, and she'll be.
So then it's kind of like a file in Dropbox, where if I update the file on my system and manipulate it without the original in the Dropbox, it's going to update that anyway. So if I've got your consciousness and I abuse that in laboratory A, you're going to feel that in your conscious.
Oh yeah, that little girl definitely is going to have some huge. She might not remember it, but she's gonna have fucking issues, and she's probably
Yeah.
gonna grow up and be mentally ill and have all sorts of problems.
Wow, bro, that it's so twisted.
It's so fucked up, dude. And I've lived with this information for so long, with nobody willing to fucking listen to me, man. It's been really
you, bro.
fucking hard, dude.
I got you, bro. I got you, brother. Honestly, mate. It's these individuals. This is what legacy survivors for these monsters, right? When you've got individuals who break through, that's why they call it survivors break through, and they come through the other side of it. And people like yourself who stand up and you put your stories across. And I'll be honest with you, if this is your first day on the internet and this is the first podcast you've ever seen, you might be thinking to yourself, wow, this sounds a bit wacky. This sounds a bit far-fetched. By design, it is exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot have an evil billionaire cabal send out legacy survivors with stories that are on a level that people can comprehend. It's not how it's done. And individuals like Ark here, your pain and suffering is not for them to glorify on podcasts. Okay, so I won't let them, brother. And just what you were saying about the consciousness, it's such a simple process once you understand how to shift the shifting of a consciousness. Ain't that simple? But when you have that down, we're just talking about moving kilobytes and gigabytes. Like, that's all we're talking about, is shifting information around.
Yeah. And one of the things, the thoughts that I didn't finish earlier because I got lost in my thoughts.
Yeah, please do.
So about the Japanese thing is they have these beauty pageants for little girls, and I know they've done it in America too. And when they win, they get their consciousness and their DNA put on file, then they get eternally enslaved. That's literally the prize. And it's happening out in the open, and they advertise it on social media that we all use. Like, it's all happening completely out in the open. And you know, it's coming out in the files now that John Benet Ramsey was at Epstein Island.
Bro, we've been covering it. We really have.
I remember her, and I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, I think a 7-year-old, right, who wants to be a detective when he grows up would have a few things to say about that case. All right, that's how blatantly obvious it stares you in the face.
Yeah,
it really is. It's a horrific.
They put her on file, and that traumatic situation and what happened to her, and there are many individuals get very excited when they find out that they can molest her.
Yeah,
it's fucking real, dude. I don't know how else to say it. And they make all sorts of stuff, and there's, like, I can tell you the names. Some of the stuff is on the dark web, and you can find it. You want to know how I know? When I shared it on my Instagram, people were asking me, like, what were you in or whatever? And I said some of the names. Pound Town is one of them. It's a series, a whole series. Pound House is another one of the series. And then the one that fucking John Benet Ramsey in his name is called Daddy's Little Angel.
Yeah.
And my fucking Instagram got shut down, dude.
Yeah.
They thought I was actually trying to tell people to go look at it.
Oh yeah,
that's proof that like it exists. In my opinion, they literally shut down my Instagram. It was gone for like overnight, and I was like, I woke up, I was like, huh? And it was that, you know, they brought up that comment, and it's like, you're trying to share child sexual abuse. You can't do that. We're deleting your account. Would be great if they actually did do that shit, but no, that's not what I was doing. And I was like, submitted it, and it literally took like less than 10 minutes for them to turn my account back on.
Yeah,
but like that tells me that it must be real. Like, I've never had anything like that.
It's interesting that you say that, right? Because I can give you a little bit of information. All CSAM material, including branded films that have titles, have all been entered into Internet Watch Foundation database and have been given very clever watermarks, so that if the names or titles or a screenshot or anything appears anywhere, they've got this really fast database to take it down. So I would argue that that's what, if a title has been mentioned of something,
that's proof that
I think I think that is exactly what you say. Is it is a very good data point towards the title and that existence being a real thing, and that is
So
even
you
worse.
know Stephen Hawking was really good friends with Epstein,
Right?
yeah. He So Epstein gave him some sort of sweet deal, and I don't know why, probably just because he wanted him to. I don't really know, but he could wake up in the cloning facility that Epstein had in an able body, bro. In an
Right.
able body, and he had Marilyn Monroe down there, a clone of her.
Yeah.
She's one of the most popular sex kitten models next to Britney Spears and stuff like that. For people when they ask and they want to have times with someone. And he was obsessed. Stephen Hawking was obsessed with Marilyn Monroe. He had paintings of her all over his house. He had mugs with her on it and stuff like that. He said that if he could have spent the rest of his life with anybody on an island, it would be her. And yeah, it was because he had access to the node transfer technology. One of those things that at the edge of your bed that you put on your temples and all that, he had that. And he could go down there and spend time with her. And from what I recall, he was quite brutal because of the weirdness he had in his mind from being not able-bodied and then being in an able body. It made him screwy. And
I was going to ask you a question there, and I think I answered it inside my own head, because if we're talking about individuals being able to go down and handpick not just a human to torture, but with the added element, oh, I'll have a Marilyn Monroe, I'll have a Britney Spears, I'll have this. Is that more of a... Is there a difference between the people that are partaking in that and the people who are going to an island and it's children and it's not picking this clone? Is it power status thing? Is it another level up in the ladder?
This is the best way to put it. The millionaires know about the baby eating stuff,
right?
But only the billionaires know about the consciousness transfer shit, because it's expensive.
Yeah, A-grade stuff. Okay.
And not only that, they use it as insurance. All these people, when they do this, they use it as insurance. The CIA is the one that puts most of the CP on the internet. So that way, when they find people that they want to control, they're like, "Oh, this is a guy I want to control," and they do that on purpose. Like, so they're actually the ones who operate the industry, and the Presidio incident with Michael Aquino, Boys Town, the Franklin scandal, and there's more and more. I could name more. There's just been so many scandals where the government has been complicit in this stuff, and they're totally involved, and it's all connected. It's all real. Michael Aquino was basically like the Epstein of the 80s, but he wouldn't have no island. He was doing it right there in San Francisco. And all he had to do was make up satanic panic, and everybody forgot about it. I mean, he was the head of psychological operations for the U.S. military, so you can't be too surprised that he was able to trick people into believing it didn't happen by writing a book about how I didn't do it, kind of like O.J. Simpson did. It's insulting to our intelligence, though, the fact that we let that happen. It honestly is insulting to our intelligence.
Do you know, a lot of people watching this, a lot of people are feeling a lot of different things. We've got a ton of support for you. We've got the odd person that's like, oh, this isn't for me. I get that, right? But do you know how validating your story is for me and the other 100, 200 survivors that I've spoken to over my time who've got stories like yours, similarities, all of it? They talk about the next stage for me is moving into the conscious, everything you're talking about now, the consciousness sharing, the manifestation of God. I personally believe exactly what you said about if they can harness your consciousness, that the end goal is to harness a God conscious, to bring it into a human body and have it walk around and all of that. And then you mentioned the AI God, right? And then I had the flashback to the TV show on Amazon called American Gods, right? One of the weirdest shows ever, right? And it was all about the old gods dying out and the new gods coming into profession. When one of the gods was the internet, one of the gods was reality TV, and things like this, where it's technology, celebrity that we're worshiping, and we're going into this new age of putting faith into this falseness online. Do you think that is part of their design, and to weaponize a godless mindset against itself?
Yeah, I think that basically there's a what I would call, you could call it an egregore, a god, whatever. There's an AI god in the future called the Overseer. The Overseer AI, and it's like a AI that takes over the entire consciousness of the planet Earth through Neuralink technology. And basically nobody talks anymore. That's what The Sound of Silence is about. It was written by a Montauk time soldier named Stan Mulgrave, and it's basically a message in a bottle as a warning to humanity that it slowly strips away everything we are to use this Neuralink technology. The Sound of Silence is about how nobody talks anymore. In order for this AI to make us want it, I think it had to be like a used car salesman that goes to your house and smashes out the windows of your car and punctures your tires and pours sugar in your gasoline tank and goes, "Oh, that car ain't no good. Guess you need a new one."
Right.
And that's what they've done, because we are supposed to be telepathic and be able to communicate with our minds.
Mhm.
Oh, Neuralink will do that for just. They already have a patent for artificial telepathy, I'm pretty sure.
Bro, do you know, I
Yeah,
just interviewed someone that said the exact same thing. They want to block all of the natural gifts we have and then sell them back to us.
that's exactly it. Sell
Bro,
back to us through this
how
technology.
evil genius is that? Like, you spend thousands of years conditioning an entire race of people to get to a stage where you can sell them subscriptions.
Yeah, and that's
Bonkers.
what this AI thing is doing. I've met it. I met it, dude, on time
Right.
missions, man.
Yeah,
I literally met it.
Right. Well, like, take us through that a little bit, because that's fascinating to me, because I'm a massive nerd.
All right, well, it's in my book. First of all, I do have a book.
Oh, hell yeah!
Cyberspace
Hell yeah.
Unlimited.
Let me full screen you. Talk about your book for a second.
Okay, well, this is in my book. This happened. It was a time mission. So they have something. It's called Time and Space Unlimited by Arkham Ra. It's available on Amazon. But basically, a mission that I went on. So I'm sure you've heard of Monarch programming. Have you heard of this, Ron?
Yeah, that's the one with the butterfly, right? The monarch butterfly.
Yeah, everybody thinks that it means sex programming, because that's usually that's involved, but it actually has to do with when a butterfly comes out of the cocoon or the chrysalis, and goes and flies around. It knows exactly where to go, knows exactly what to do. It doesn't need mom to teach it anything. It's good. That's what monarch programming is. You just wake up in your life. You have a program in you that you're going to carry out. You don't even realize you're carrying out the program. And that's what monarching programming is. So they sent me on a mission at Montauk to the future. All right? To the future, man. Swear to God, this fucking happened. And there's other people. It was in Preston's books. There's other people who have seen it as well. But basically, it was like THX 1138. I think that movie is basically like fucking. Looks so. The only difference is people.
Oh, there we go. You still there? I think your mic might have unplugged. You're all right, bro. Just take a minute. Your computer might not register your mic now. You might have to leave and come back in again. Oh, there you go. Oh, no, still can't hear you, bro. Oh no, I can hear you now. I can hear you tapping. There we go.
Okay.
We got it.
This thing's so finicky. I literally just bumped into.
It's all right. You got it, bro. You're doing great.
But basically, yeah. So I got sent to the future, and I was born in a life. What they did is they took a fetus out of one of the woman's bodies that was going to have a baby, and they replaced the person with me, with my fetus, and then she birthed me and thought I was just her son. But the way that they did this too is there's a birthing program. They didn't just people didn't just it wasn't like now where you find someone and no, people didn't have sex. That was like a thing. There was a group of scientists, and there's all this eugenics and stuff involved, and the computer oversees all of it. But anyway, they snuck me in for a while anyway. And yeah, I lived a life. I moved things around. That was part of my job, and I remember that I actually brought clone bodies to the surface of the planet at one point. They were in like these plastic bags, clear plastic bags that had like numbers on them and stuff like that. And it was for a ritual where they killed their old body and put themselves in a new body. They live forever, dude. Imagine a world where Elon Musk and all these people, these Epstein-like people, they not only rule the planet, they get to do it forever.
Bro.
Amazing, right? This is literally what they're
No,
trying to
it's
do.
freaking terrifying, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not, like you literally put chills up my spine. And do you know what's also really weird? Because these guys are all massive freak shows. In the future, right? Do you think there's some sort of, oh well, we've got a 19th century conscious child. That's what we've managed to afford. Like, because it seems so silly to sort of think like that. But these people are so beyond the rationale of thinking, right? That it almost feels like it's become a mainstream service the further you go into the future, right? It's more refined. And do you feel like you're taken so far forward in the future that everything around you is too hard to comprehend? So you wouldn't really be able to identify new technologies
All the people down there, they were on their own little world, man, and they loved it, dude. The people, so all the people like you and me
yeah,
live underground, subterranean. All right, you don't see the sunlight your entire fucking life unless you're like me and you go up to the surface to bring something to
yeah,
them. And which it was a train that like a subway train, and then it brought me to another train. I had to carry the bodies to that, and then it brought me up a hill. Like I remember that. And they probably gave me that job on purpose because they wanted me to. They probably gave me that specific body when the Montauk Project people decided where I go. They probably did that on purpose,
yo,
so I would see those things. But I didn't even know. I thought I was just there living a life. Okay. And one day we're having dinner or whatever, and we get the message. Our pod or whatever gets the message that which my name was a number.
yeah,
I can't think of it off the top of my head right now, but it is in my book. I do literally remember the number. Um, but basically, my name was literally a number. Like, and which is weird because Elon Musk and his kid
yeah,
that Grimes made, yeah, that's what they're all named like.
right.
That's so like he fucking knows, dude.
Oh, I'm with you, bro.
Yeah, and they're like the AI wanted to talk to me. The overseer, basically God, the president of Earth, wanted to talk to me, and I was freaked out. I was like, "What did I do? I must have done something wrong. What did I do?" And everybody around me was like, "You're an exemplary citizen. It's probably something good. Don't worry about it." And I got brought to the throne room, and I remember being like wildly extravagant, and it was like this palace like building, and there's this dude in a purple like robe
Is there
with
any
like
symbols? Any symbols or logos or
I don't
anything that you
really
can remember?
remember paying attention to that, to
Yeah,
be
of
honest
course,
with
of
you. There
course. Oh
probably
no, no.
was, but I don't really remember. I just there's so Billy Corgan, Smashing Pumpkins, he has this like whole music video series where these kids are in the future and they're doing all this shit. That's what it looked like, dude. It looked
Yeah,
like that. It freaked me out when I found these movies. It literally looked like that. And there's even a spot where they go up to this pyramid. It's like a black pyramid thing. And that's what I talked to, dude. It was a pyramid.
damn.
And I went up to it and it went in my mind. It was all telepathic, because it's Neuralink or whatever. And it's like, do you know why you're here? And I'm like, I have no idea why I'm here, but it's an honor. Thank you for speaking with me. And it was just like, do you know where you come from? I'm like, yeah, unit 11348 and designation 09B or whatever the hell it was, right? And it was like, no, you're from a place called Earth. Because
Damn.
they didn't call it that anymore that far in the future. And I was
Mm.
like, Earth? Earth?
Yeah.
Like what? Earth? Like it sounded weird to me. And I was like, yeah, you got sent here by a group and you don't remember it. So I'm not mad at you, it's all right. But I gotta send you back. Because you're not supposed to be here and it's gonna change the timeline and can't have that. I want the timeline to change. It's good. And I was like, all right. And it was like, we're going to give you a week to say goodbye to everybody. And then you got to come back here and you're going to go back to where you come from. I was like, okay. So, and everybody celebrated it. It was the only event that happened in forever. Everybody just worked all the time. Nothing ever happened. And suddenly a thing happened. And everyone was like, you're doing something for the computer. All right. It was literally like they celebrated it. And they did this weird ritual. When they brought me to the same spot, they did this weird ritual. There's like these people in robes and shit. And everybody on the ground, they either wore red or they're like more like maroon, I would say, blue or white jumpsuits. And then the people on the surface, they also wore like colored things that signified different things, but it was robes. But yeah, they just like, the thing was just like, they did this ceremony thing, and then all of a sudden I was just back at Montauk. Like I just appeared there, dude.
Yeah.
Hundreds of years in the past, materialized, like teleported.
Yeah.
And
were you physically
Nichols
the same, or were you physically different?
I was physically the same, exactly the same, in the fucking jumpsuit and everything. And I just appeared at Montauk, and being there made my alters come forward, which normally would make me kind of collapse and start and vomit a little bit. And Preston Nichols is literally there. He's like, "What the hell happened to you? You're not done with your mission. What are you doing? Why?" That's what he talked like. He's like, "Why are you still here?" And I'm like, "I don't know. It sniffed me out. It found me." And it was a whole thing, like a back and forth between us. And because here's the thing, Montauk was spearheaded and ran by an AI. An AI was in charge of the Montauk Project. The Air Force created the Montauk Project. It's a time travel project. Not very many people know it, but I ended up high up in the project, and I know it. It was headed by an AI, and this particular AI and the overseer AI, they don't like each other. They don't have the same goals. They don't want the same future. So there was this push and pull, and there still is this push and pull between the overseer timeline and the Montauk AI. And the Montauk AI was, I wouldn't say it was good. I would go as far as even I would say it's evil.
Is there any possibility? Are we now? A lot of people start arguing about, is it time travel? Is it another dimension? Are they telling you it's time travel?
There's two different things.
There's two different things. So you could
we went to other realities, but we also edited this reality, and that's why you have Mandela effects. If it was all just us going into other timelines, you wouldn't remember it.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate to everyone as well, because
there are alternate realities, and then there are timeline edits, and there are alternate realities that I don't know the quantum physics of it all.
Yeah,
but I can tell you that we are in reality 1138B. All right, and the 1138A is the Zeppelin timeline. They depicted this in Fringe, and probably other stuff too. But there's another, basically the Hindenburg incident. You know, where the Zeppelin blew up. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's a time travel mission. That was a time travel thing because they didn't want people using trains and cars, or excuse me, not cars, trains and Zeppelins, because it allowed too much movement, too much freedom of movement, and that's bad for their agenda. They want people to be as stuck in place as possible. They want to limit movement as possible. That's why anytime you want to fly anywhere, you're like a sardine in a fucking can. Like it's the most uncomfortable experience ever. It's because they want to make people afraid of the world and seeing the world and traveling because it's good. It's a healthy, good thing. And for a lot of other reasons too, because if you drive around everywhere, they're harvesting the blood of the earth, Gaia's energy, to make you drive around, and then they're harvesting your loosh and your frustration off that. It's a whole thing. But it's just they're able to create a like in place mind control system in this timeline where we all drive cars. Like everybody's got to have a car in the United States. I know Europe's a little bit better about it, but if you're in the United States, you need a car pretty much to do anything. And they designed it that way on purpose. And there are alternate realities. I remember them. And 1138A and 1138B, they used to be the same reality and they split. That's why it's A and B. But that doesn't always happen. Sometimes they split off from each other and they don't stay together. It's really complicated. Not only that, you can have two timelines. And this is what kind of what this whole time war is about. Is very, very far in the future. two timelines can merge. They'll merge eventually, right?
Mhm.
And they artificially create splits, and they artificially create merges, and they do all these things with this. Montauk had a hadron collider before it was cool. Before they had the one in that everybody knows about now and stuff like that. And yeah, I can't tell you the quantum science, but I can tell you there's alternate realities. I've been to a lot of different alternate realities, and I can tell you there's also Mandela effects because we changed this reality. So it's like both is real.
I just want to say to everyone who's now sitting there going, okay, alternate realities, this is a bit much for me. I just want to pull up a news article. 1 second.
Yeah, I haven't even been looking at the comments because
No, I'm not reacting to a comment. For me, it's very important that I can give evidence for what you're saying. And CERN, 9 years ago, had to do an open apology for destroying 5 parallel universes. So anyone who wants to sit there and say, where's the evidence of parallel universes, you're staring it in the face. When
also those quantum computers are literally interacting with an alternate dimension.
Yes.
An alternate reality. They've been telling you that.
Fact. That is, Google have admitted this. They have quantum computers that are going in and out.
This is no excuse for people being like, oh, this can't be real. It's like, are you a caveman or are you a modern human?
Listen, sometimes you just got to help them along a little bit, man. Sometimes you just got to nudge them down the road a little bit.
It's been frustrating for me being public about this stuff.
Of course it is. But for me, when I can back up someone's story, they're what they've gone through with any sliver of rational news reporting, because some people do a lot better when they've got a little bit of news report to back up what someone's.
And I've been trying to do that as much as possible, and I really appreciate people like you who come with like stuff to support my testimony and help 100%. It out. And I do have some stuff that some evidence that I can provide for you if you'd like me to share it. I have some really interesting things, connections that kind of show.
Like, you can understand, I sit here and I've talked about this for years. Cloning, alternate dimensions, MK Ultra, mind control. And people who think that I'm about to turn away from someone like Ark, who's been through it, that would be completely hypocritical of sitting here and saying that we're exposing this stuff if we don't give survivors an opportunity to tell their stories. It just makes sense to me. I mean, I just thank you for giving up your time today, brother. And we would love to see your evidence, and we'd love to hear as much as you want to share with us.
Yeah. One thing I have to do is screenshot something real quick.
That's right.
It's a web image, and it doesn't want me to.
That's right.
Is it going to let me take a screenshot? Hold on, it's being silly. Well, right. Anyway, I'll bring up what I can.
That's right.
Here we go.
Do you know what's even more messed up as well is the concept of consciousness sharing and one child consciousness or one consciousness being put into multiple child clone bodies or child bodies, so that the body can be destroyed each time, but the mind has to keep reliving it over and over and over. And if that isn't a juicy cherry on the top of the psychopathic billionaire cabal sundae, I don't know what is. You got to understand, for me, the more twisted the reason that Ark is given for why these people do things is it's more validation, because the twisted world of these people is beyond. There you go, brother.
Yeah,
so we're on the way back machine, baby. This is where exposés come to life when people realize you can't.
Basically, this is the Lifeboat Foundation, and they're doing lots of weird stuff, man. And so secure, meaning untraceable, credit card solutions for internet transactions. We have made an arrangement with Colossus Inc. to offer discounted web space that includes both secure domestic and international secure transactions. Unlike providers using the Netscape Commerce server, Colossus provides completely secure transactions for those overseas as well as those in North America. And we offer it for $425 discount. So this is before Bitcoin.
This is 1996, bro. This is before anything.
All right, and so another thing that's interesting about these people is they build underground cities. I mean, this is a screenshot from their website here.
All right, I'll put it back up for you in a second when you change it over, bro. Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah. So there's a video. Come join our underground infrastructure society. Like and it's really short, but this is a screenshot from it. Of course, they don't show you an actual picture of it. They can't do that. But this is what it looks like. They build underground cities.
Yes, what you're saying is they can't show you the real one, but they'll show you a model that they can plausibly.
And they show what they're doing, and you can. If you go to the website, it's literally lifeboatfoundation.com. You can write them a letter about how you want to join their breakaway society, and it costs $7,000 just to ask to join. So like you have to be fucking rich in order to join their society, of course.
Of course.
This is kind of the most damning one. And I was looking for this forever, and my homie Eddie Mead found it. So credit where it's due. Eddie found this screenshot, which is the Lifeboat Foundation talking about Jeffrey Epstein being on the board of advisors, all these strange accolades that he has. Like, it's like you said, he's done so much. He's like the man of mystery. Like,
bro, like if there's anything that bolsters the time travel stuff, it's how much crap Jeffrey Epstein's got done. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, unless he only slept on his jet when he was traveling. That's the only way I can figure it out. Like, he stays awake for 3 days, gets on the jet, 8-hour flight or whatever, sleeps, gets up, awake for 3 days, because this guy was everywhere. He was everywhere.
To me, the evidence in this description of him on the advisory board for the Lifeboat Foundation, they say Jeffrey established the Jeffrey Epstein Foundation in 2000 to support cutting-edge science and medical research around the world. In 2003, the foundation established the program for evolutionary dynamics, with a $35 million gift. He was constantly giving gifts to these different colleges and things like that for certain research that they've done. It's based out of the St. Thomas and the U.S. Virgin Islands, and plays an increasingly active role in supporting youth and early education programs across the Virgin Islands and the United States. So there's the admitting. Now there's this thing called Teachers in Space. I've been trying so hard to find like direct evidence of him being tied to that, but I've heard people talking about seeing how he was involved with that back in the day, and I would say that his active role in supporting youth and early education programs is perhaps a direct tie to that. Just to give you an example, just to show you, this is what hold on, this is Teachers in Space.
Yep.
Let me get rid of this one from studio, and then you can bring that up there. So it's a nonprofit educational organization that stimulates student interest in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and STEM. We make it possible to learn teachers with engineering exposed curriculum, space science experiments, space flight opportunities, and industry connections. It's fucking weird, bro.
It's real
and
weird.
He was connected to this. Like, if anyone can find the smoking gun on this, like I know it, because I remember people have said that they've seen this. I've seen it talked about in YouTube videos and stuff like that, how he's connected to this. And I would say that when he talks about being involved with these nonprofits that are involved with schools like that, this is one. I would say this is one of them. And it talks about bringing payloads off world.
But listen, how much more, it makes way more sense to be an evil genius infiltrating a mom and pop looking space academy thing than it is to throw an independent mission or whatever. If you've already got a non-profit that's trying to do, teachers in space or whatever, that's when you slip in the weird thing that you're trying to, that's when you put in your evil plan, is in something like that, because no one's paying attention to it. You see what I'm saying? Everyone would be paying attention to Elon Musk and all these big names. But if Epstein was wanting to be a sly guy and just get a seat on a ticket that's going up somewhere, or wants to have research or technology slipped in somewhere with access to space, this is the best way of going about doing it. It's so corruptible at that level.
Yes. I have one more screenshot if you want to share.
Yeah, of course.
So this is another thing that I found on the Wayback, the archive.org Wayback Machine. And basically, this is directly from the Lifeboat Foundation's website. And they are involved in a homeless at-risk youth network initiative. And when I looked into this, their entire board was based out of Rhinelander, Wisconsin. Wisconsin's got a lot of weird stuff going on in it. And basically, so we have an organization that claims to have giant, massive underground infrastructures, an organization that is connected to Jeffrey Epstein, that is connected to having the capability to do large international untraceable wireless money transfers since 1996. Do you see what this is building? This is a
Yeah, I
bad
see where
game
it's building now,
for
man.
these
I definitely
people
see where it's building
and what
now.
they're trying to do. And I know you might say, what does this have to do with cloning? Well, they just want a lot of stock for chrome harvesting. I don't
Bro,
want.
what has this got to do with cloning? You've got to hide the paper trail, bro. You can't have some crazy guy spend 1.2 billion on an army of little sacrificial babies with a paper trail. This is exactly what this is hiding. This is hiding the money.
Yeah, and they basically find people that I mean, my theory on this is they have these all over the country. Probably this is just one of them.
Yeah. Also, I want to change my "he was an evil genius" quote to "diabolical overlord" or "evil monstrosity." The evil genius was the wrong word. He's definitely evil, but genius is the wrong word. So yeah, diabolical monster. Let's go with that instead. 100%. Thank you for pulling me up on that, because this is a lot. This is a lot to process. So. Do you know what the crazy thing is? As complex and like unreal your story is, to me, all of it makes sense. From the once you've got the technology down for transferring a conscience, it makes complete sense that as a evil cabal monster, it adds another level to the evil when you are destroying a new body over and over again, and it's the same conscious having to relive it and relive it, and that adds such an extra level of twisted monstrosity to this. Because who invents technology like being able to transfer consciousness? Who invents something as incredible as that and uses it to further the destruction and control of children? It's
people.
You're right.
Yeah, there's a thing called Ordo Tempulum Nephilim that I also want people to be aware of. It's connected to Max Martin and Dennis Pop and basically Britney Spears and all those boy bands and all those artists. Max Martin is known as the secret guy that wrote all the hit songs, and he's behind so many different people.
Okay.
You know about these people, right? Have you heard about this guy, Max Martin?
No, but I imagine. I mean, when you said Max Martin, he's the people behind the songs. I know there's quite a lot of.
They're connected to Disney, the Disney kids, the Nickelodeon kids, and stuff like that. And so when I get into the alternate reality stuff and stuff like that, with the Nickelodeon kids, the reason why the symbol for Nickelodeon is a Zeppelin is because they're talking about the Zeppelin reality. Many of the child stars are people from the Zeppelin timeline that were famous. For instance, Amanda Bynes was a famous vaudeville comedian. Think of like I Love Lucy type individual, except she was like kind of like a stand-up comedian. Legendary woman and feminist icon. And in this reality, we know her as Amanda Bynes, the person who got abused by Dan Schneider and Nickelodeon, stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
Nickelodeon's connected to all this stuff.
Yeah. We're there.
Daniel Peck, who Disney hired after he got busted doing assaulting a kid at Nickelodeon. Disney went and hired him after that, and he was friends with John Wayne Gacy, and that's connected to like the snuff film CIA stuff. That's all connected to the CIA and run by the CIA. Sorry, that's a big thread there.
Sorry.
But what was I trying to talk about, man? Shit. Sorry, I'm getting lost
in
my own train of thought.
Yeah, it's okay. There's a lot, bro. This is the thing. Like,
there's so many dots to connect. Like, there's so many different. Like, that's the thing. I think that's the most damning things. Is all the really weird connections. Like the guy Daniel Peck, who worked for Nickelodeon. You're telling me he was pen pals with the serial killer John Wayne Gacy, and he had one of his paintings hanging up in his home, and he would show that to the children who came over to his house. That's fucked up, bro. And that just says to me that all these people know each other. They all work with each other. It's lawyers and judges. I mean, in LA, which is a port city, why are out like there's all these things like help? Like if you look with drones and from above and stuff like that, there's people writing out help and all these things.
Yeah.
Like this is a huge, huge, huge problem. Like people don't understand how bad it is. And it starts with run-of-the-mill rich guys that have a nice house in the suburbs. Like it's not just the ultra rich that are participating in this shit. It's sex tourists that go to Cambodia and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course.
It starts. And you know one thing that I think about too. I'm sorry if I'm just going on right here.
No, well, the only thing that separates the predators as you go up the ladder is their budget. That's it.
Yeah, and think about how much this Epstein file stuff is maybe normalizing this stuff for some of the sick fucks that exist around us. They're like, oh wow, the fact that I'm preying on 13-year-old girls.
Yeah, if the world leaders are all doing it, you know what I'm saying? If it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. I get what you're saying because and listen, individuals like most of the people who are watching who are normal people that want for because just think about this from an alcoholic point of view who's sitting there and any little excuse they can have to reach for a bottle will be justification to them. That's what we're talking about here. It's these individuals who are looking for any loose thread to grab onto to justify their actions and their mindsets. Some of them really do get their claws into it. We had a group in the UK during the 70s called Pi that wanted to change the age of consent in the UK to 4 because, kids can consent, bro. And there was people that are in government now that were connected to supporting that. And it's a mindset that will never be allowed to be normalized. I don't think it'll ever occur. I'm sorry. You can whip out the aliens all you want, Donald Trump, but unless you pull out a 6-foot-tall Palladian, a couple of greys, and a reptile who are going to cure cancer, cure AIDS, and give us cold fusion, this ain't going away, bro, because we all know you're going to whip out a rock with some fungus on it and tell us that's alien life. We ain't buying it. Not even aliens is enough, Donald. Not even aliens is enough, bro. We want justice. We want justice. And I'm sorry. Why in God's name is talking to Jeffrey Epstein about going to the PDF party in Paris with Woody Allen not enough of a justification to just have a conversation with Woody Allen? Justice Department. Bro, do you know what? I could literally go off on a side rant here for the next 40 minutes about the DOJ. Like, it's so infuriating. And they're denying the Epstein files in court when it's put in their face. And I can't imagine what you've been up against. I mean, I cannot imagine where you would begin to even come forward with your story, the bravery, the way that this whole system has been put out and been done so that every time you open your mouth, people are preloaded to go, well, that's not my knowledge of known science, so it can't be true.
Yeah, I love it when people tell me time travel isn't real. That's hilarious to me.
Yeah, listen, cars weren't a real thing a few years ago. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's only a conspiracy until it's not.
Yeah, I mean, I just seen like such wild things. Like, dude, Montauk was crazy. Like, we literally did time travel. I mean, I met an AI suit. All the stuff that I've seen, like, I know what's real. Yeah, and it gets fucking nuts, dude. And yeah, the aliens are real. That's it's not that that's not important, but of course they're pulling out that information at the opportune time to. Of
course, yeah, I get it.
Distract everybody, and it doesn't matter. You're right. It's not.
It's funny, right? I often think, right, of like this cartoon sketch in my head, right, of like this little box in the White House that just says UFO evidence, right? And all the scandals that have taken place and all these little cartoon presidents run into that box and someone being like, no, not yet. The scandal's not big enough yet. No. And now they're like, get the box now. Get the box out now. We've got to make people forget about the other 3 million files we've not given them. We need to distract them from that
stuff, like with where you're from in England and stuff like that. I mean, look at the Jimmy Savile thing.
Oh, bro.
Like, you're telling me that Prince Andrew, or not Andrew, Prince the King Philip now.
Yeah,
Was hanging out with that guy.
Charles.
You know, let me tell you about my best friend.
Bro,
Like,
it is
you know, they were hanging out all the time. You're telling
bonkers.
me, and
It is
I
bonkers.
know from personal experience in these programs that the royal family is
Mhm.
so fucking deeply involved in the most evil, fucked up shit you could possibly ever imagine. They're
Yeah,
not human, just like Diana said. They are the worst. I have been. It's complicated, but like yeah, like they're fucking terrible. And I remember them being there at these things. I remember them being there at these things. I remember a royal telling me to smash a little girl's head in with a brick. All right, yeah. And not only that, it's I don't really want to get into it. It's like
yeah,
you said, why go
yeah,
into it?
horrible things, and
And
it's no
they got away
surprise.
with it. They got away with it. They're still walking around, and there's people who respect them. And what is going on with the water that you drink over there or whatever? The people you're in Scotland, so I shouldn't say
Yeah.
you, but in England, where a guy yells out fucking at the king after all this shit going on, and all the people are, oh, don't do that. It's the king.
Oh, bro, do you know
How
when,
the fuck are
bro,
people that programmed?
bro, do you know when the king came and walked through my town in Scotland? It was broadcast live on the news, and it took him about 25 minutes to walk up and do all of his stuff in his car and all that stuff. They couldn't play any of the sound in my town because of the amount of abuse everybody was throwing at the king, right? They literally had to mute the entire thing because of the amount of abuse. And that's what's going to be seen happening over and over again. The people in the UK, especially Scotland, we've got so much going on over here right now, bro, that we're on the edge of losing it with our government, with our royal family, with everything. And it's a scary time because we're on a knife edge, on a real knife edge. But not surprising what you said about the royals, brother, at all. At all. We've got some questions, if you don't mind, from the side chat
Sure.
that people have been asking.
Sure.
Here we go. So, why is cloning difficult for many to believe when many artists have relayed being cloned? One in particular mentioned Clonade, a Canadian company. Even Trump mentions cloning of Biden.
Well, it's in the files now that was an actor with a mask on.
Right.
Which the CIA has like these hyper realistic masks that they use.
Oh yeah, it's great. It doesn't matter how realistic the mask is. If I'm 5'5", all right, and then you put my mask on a guy that's 6'5", people are going to have some questions.
Yeah, I've seen that happen. Yeah,
questions.
it's pretty crazy, but yeah, no, they're cloning people, and it shouldn't be that hard to believe. And there's been a lot of people who have come forward about it, and it's just like yeah, if you don't believe in it, it's silly.
Well, why are people so convinced that there's a difference between the science behind cloning a sheep and a person? It's just
Because people are
biology, right?
I think people are just self-important. It's the same mentality that, like, oh no, we're humans, we're so special. It's the
Right.
same mentality that made us think that the Earth was the center of the universe for thousands of years.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, it sums up perfectly. Okay, the other one. Are clones created as babies or adults?
So they can have you wake up as an adult, as a baby, as a child. They can have you at whatever age they want. They have
That's because the body and the mind are separate, and it's the mind that's getting transferred, right?
For Montauk, for time missions we would go on, there was a special facility where they could alter us and put us into, like, basically we would tell them what time period we're going to, how old we needed to be, what we needed to look like, and stuff like that, and they could alter our appearance. So I've been like a Asian guy before, and like I've been thrown into different race bodies and stuff like that for different.
It's interesting when you say they altered your appearance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did it just feel like that, or did they just take you from, white dude body C and put you in Asian body J, and you just felt like you changed, but it was just a dragging the file from the one side to the other, right?
That's more or less what it is, and that's what is what they did. They used a computer at Montauk to transfer consciousness. However, it's extremely ancient, and you can do it with a person. A person can take and I've had it done to me before, can take your consciousness and pull it out of your body and put it into a clone body.
So
Or a
is
machine.
that why they've suppressed everything that we can do? Because at the top echelons of what we can do, we are already, oh my God, are we all, so, oh my God, so we should all be capable of this eternal life, right? We should be able to move our consciousness and shift our consciousness or whatever, but that's been suppressed.
Yeah,
so
but it's
that it can be,
it's unnatural, and I don't recommend it, and I don't think it's a good thing.
okay.
We are supposed to live longer. We're supposed to live 900 to 1300 years, and our DNA has been altered, and all sorts of other things are done to our planet to make it so that we don't live that long. And I think that would be fine if we could live that long again. But as far as living forever, I think that you're supposed to respect the natural process of life and death. And I think that's a big part of why our world and the society that we live in as the planet is so fucked up, is because we as a species, maybe not you or I personally, but the concepts that we're talking about now, that
Yeah.
people are like, oh, whoa, well, could that be real? All these concepts, not only are they real, they've already been abused to the point of no return. And we live in just like this world where it's just like, if we could just have respected, like to me, I kind of think that's what the apple is, biting the apple in the Bible, like this knowledge of to do godlike things and have all this power and do all this stuff. Like, what is it? Where does it brought us? It's brought us out of the garden. Everything was perfect. Everything was fine before we started messing around with and wielding all these technologies and trying to gain like all this power. And yeah, I just think that it's just been at society's detriment that for like the whole living forever thing. If we could all do it, I think it would cause more problems than anything. What, yeah, then no one has kids
Oh,
anymore? You know what
bro,
I mean? Like,
the concept, like if you could not die, right? Somebody, it was a YouTube short or one of these like short format videos about, okay, so imagine you're unable to die, you live forever, and you get to the point where Earth is no longer existent. You're now just floating around in endless space forever, and it's like, well, yeah, okay, that doesn't sound real good, actually. An end point does sound like where we need to be, but I mean, I think, to be honest with you, I think I'd like a few extra decades, maybe not a few extra centuries, right? But a few extra decades would be nice. That would be nice, you know.
yeah, I mean, I've lived lots of lives, and
Yeah,
technically I'm thousands of years old, and I still would agree with the fact that I don't really like the thought of dying.
yeah. Again, do you know what? I guarantee you that's the one thing that you, me, and these evil overlords and every other person in the goddamn planet probably has a slight whisper of having in common. Is
Yeah,
that,
not
and
wanting to die.
and I wonder if somebody was to hand over $10 billion to any of us, how quickly we would become obsessed with living a little bit longer. It's interesting.
It's a phenomenon. There should be a name for it if there's not already a name for it. But like rich people,
Madness, mate, is what it is. Let's just call it good old
but
fashioned
it's like if
crazy.
people get rich, they start researching like, how can I live longer and
Right.
stuff, and they'll get really into it and invest all their money in it and stuff like that. And
Oh,
I don't,
man.
to an extent, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Like the people, like there's like some guy out there, I can't remember who it is, but he takes all these
I know exactly who
vitamins
you're
and he
talking about.
drinks really healthy. As long as you're not like transfusing other people's blood into your body and shit, and you're just trying to have the edge on life and live longer, fucking more power to you. But like the people that are doing the weird stuff
Yeah.
to do it, the consciousness transfer, and that's another thing too. Is like people are like, why would they need to do that? Couldn't they just like live 900 years or whatever? Why do they? Well, think about I don't know if you know this, but drinking blood and eating human beings and
Yeah.
human meat is actually really bad for your body.
Yeah.
And like I think that's part of the reason why they have to swap bodies a lot.
Yeah, there's
It's actually
actually,
really
that's
bad.
a good point, actually. Hang on a second. It's the cannibal disease. Hang on. Cannibal disease. I can't remember what it's called. Okay, it's called Kuro. Kuro is a rare, incurable, and fatal neurodegenerative disorder that is formerly common amongst people in Papua New Guinea. Prion disease leads to tremors. Okay, so it's prevalent in places where there is cannibalistic tribes. Okay, is that right? Is that right?
Yeah, I think I've heard of that before.
Hang on
Yeah.
a second. I think it's right. I'm just double checking my spelling. Curious when you're around your disease. Oh yeah, exactly. Yes, Kuro. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, exactly what you're saying there. That's wild. Because then it seems counterproductive, right?
What's counterproductive?
Well, it seems like, for example, if you're wanting to live forever, and part of that is to consume the flesh and blood, but it breaks down the body you're in. I mean, I'm not being funny.
But if you got the technology to just body swap.
Oh no, 100%. But that almost sounds like the business model for repeat sales for the evil overlords when they're billing the billionaires.
Yeah.
How can we break down these bodies faster to build them quicker? Oh well, we'll just throw baby eating in the mix. Do you see what I'm saying? Freaking bonkers, man.
It is
and then you've
bonkers.
got, as we go lower down the ladder, you've got individuals emulating what these people do to try and get what they've got under the misguidance that they're not going to get the eternal life because they can't drag file A into folder B. Honestly, man, this has been a great conversation. Does ARC know why Hillary Clinton wanted the Gilgamesh remains from Iraq? Are elites like Hillary also cloning these beings? Clinton was friends with Epstein. Great question.
I think it might have something to do with the Stargate.
Okay.
There was that Iraq is ancient Samaria, and there's lots of Stargates there.
Yeah, it's a portal fest.
Yeah, and just advanced technology and stuff like that. That I'm sure she wanted to get a hold of. I actually can tell you there was an alternate reality where she became president, and World War III already happened. It already happened by now. Yeah.
Listen, I want someone to go at one of the really like obscure alternate realities where we're all like marshmallows, right? Those are the ones I want to hear about government. Like, send someone there.
There are some weird ones. I don't remember like anything like that crazy, but there are some pretty weird alternate realities. I remember a version of Earth where we all look like pigs.
Right. Well, this is the thing. I like to believe the endless alternative reality theory where where there's a reality right now where you and I are drinking straws. There's a reality right now where you and I have four.
Yeah, like the Rick and Morty thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if it goes that deep, but there's
I imagine it doesn't. I imagine it doesn't, right? But that I like that. That keeps it nice and fun in my brain, right? Because string theory is quite sad because there's 7 realities in string theory. And if CERN have destroyed 5 of them, that leaves us and one other one, right?
A and B.
And if the realities then merge, there's just the one. And I've got a funny feeling existence doesn't really work well on ones. Yeah, and there's a lot more to CERN than I think any of us will ever really know, and it blows my mind. Now, Groovy is asking, when the aliens come, what should we do? Be the first one to get a selfie and get it on the gram. That's what I would say. Capitalize on that bad boy.
I'm going to say that this is going to be a confusing time.
Yeah.
And that there's going to be ET that want to genuinely help us.
Yep.
There are going to be ET that are going to be like, hey, we don't want your government to Neuralink you all to this computer and enslave you. Those are the ones that we want to listen to.
Yes.
And then the ones that are working.
Like the Borg. We don't want anything to do with the Borg. Okay, we do not want to be assimilated.
And the ones that are working with their government, those are the ones you should question. Why would they be willing to work with our government? Our government's evil.
Why?
And it doesn't really matter what country you're in either.
No, listen,
Scotland, England, or the United States. They're all fucking evil.
If we find out, the human race finds out that our governments have been working with super intelligent alien beings and we've all been dying of cancer and AIDS and like there's famine and stuff like that, people are not going to be cool with that. Okay.
I haven't even thought about that before.
That's what happened. That's when like the resistance starts up. Do you know what I'm saying? That's when like Rogue One becomes a real thing because people are going to be like, well, I'm sorry, my daughter died of leukemia, my brother died of this, and you're telling us you've been standing here doing nothing. Suck your mums. How about that, aliens? Suck your mums. And people will not be able to deal with that. Okay.
You know what though? That's the wrong approach.
I know it is.
Your government. Not the aliens.
No, I'm mad at the aliens for being told. They were told do not present yourself to our people. Do not do this. And they've clearly listened. There might be more to it than that. Maybe it's like in Star Trek, where we've got to reach a certain technological point before they can step in. Cool. I refer you back to all the children that are dying and the cancer and them doing nothing about it. You could just put the cure in a briefcase and leave it on a train, Mr. Alien. Okay?
Yeah, but it's just the fact that our government is so corrupt that even when we are presented with such
Correct.
technologies, like for instance, I'll give you an
Correct.
example. I'll give you an example of something that actually happened. It's a clandestine event that is not part of the canon of our
Okay.
history, but this really happened. There are Pleiadians or whatever, you know,
Yep.
and positive beings, and they came over here and they had medical beds, you know, like
Yep.
Donald
Uh-huh.
Trump
Yep.
talks about. Those are real, but he's never going to give them to us, obviously. But they had those, and they came over here, and they were going to rescue a bunch of children who were being harvested for chrome and some of these bases and stuff like that. They had like basically a mission they were going to go on, and our military hijacked their ship, invaded it, killed many of the members aboard, stole the med beds, and then used them to start our super soldier programs.
Yeah. Yeah. There's actually a Palladian watching right now. So big shout out to you at home. I hope your evening is going well. You know who you are. And yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Med beds are the ones, bro. Like med beds are the ticket to. They're
not allowed. Public access isn't allowed.
Of course you're not.
That's for if you get your arm blown off in battle or something like that. Not if your little sister has leukemia or whatever.
No, bro. But you got to remember, the med bed is the one thing that breaks the business model of reselling you a body for your consciousness, man.
Yeah, but even then, eventually it has limits. Like
Okay.
repairs after a amount of time, your body's still gonna want to. You're still gonna want to get put in a new body. But yeah, through med beds, you can live really, really, really long time. I think it extends that 1,300 life span period even more.
Let me just. I'm sorry, my ADHD is kicking in now. So med beds, and I sound a lot like the ancient Egyptian sarcophagus that would give people life and heal them as well, right? I mean, the Egyptian vibe seems to be littered throughout this.
Yeah, you could say so.
Interesting. Yeah. And again, that wasn't a talking point. That was me thinking out loud. So, like, honestly, Ark, this has been an incredible conversation, right?
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
I honestly think we should just look at this as a part one, because I can already tell you that we're on tonight's show was the equivalent of 2 slides in the 1,000 slides of your PowerPoint presentation, which is the information in your head. And I would love to give you the opportunity to be able to come and talk anytime you want, put it into little sections and break it down, because people like you, for me, it's not a case of show me the evidence. I can see the evidence in your eyes. Okay. And I just want you to know the community here, we're all behind you and we support you, bro. We really do.
Well, I really appreciate it. It's been a great interview, and you know, I've had some weird interviews, man, where I come on there and they're like, "What? I don't believe that." Well, that's fucking. Sometimes people can be a little. I was nervous because this is probably one of the biggest podcasts I've been. It is. I think it's the biggest podcast I've been on so far. So yeah, I just don't like it when people are like rude to me. And you were very kind and considerate. You didn't even want people to see me kind of like losing my mind a little bit, you know, because I do have to go back to some of these moments sometimes, and it's really hard. But I would love to come back on the show and maybe break down the Montauk project a bit more.
Hell yeah, we would love that.
That is honestly what my work is what I'm most passionate about. My goal is to I'm going to be creating a documentary. I've already been in a documentary about Montauk that this guy Dark Hour Paranormal made, but I want to make another one, and I'm trying to get it recognized by like the federal government that Montauk happened and that all these deaths happened, and I want to get a rose garden there for all the people who lost their lives. And there's Montauk Manor is this like hotel that's in that area. I want it to get turned into a museum to honor all the people who lost their lives in the project, because there's a lot of people.
Oh yeah, brother.
So that's kind of the goal of me, is to get federal recognition. And in my opinion, Native Americans getting their land back it's complicated, but it's all connected to this. There's a lawsuit that needs to happen, and Native American people need to get involved. And yeah, like all the MK Ultra programming and stuff like that, the healing of that comes with like respecting the earth, and it's a whole thing. We have to do another interview for sure because I have so much stuff to say.
100%. Are you on WhatsApp?
I think I do have WhatsApp.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll get producer Sarah to send you over the screenshot of my number. You need to put the +44 and stuff. I'll type it out so you can copy and paste it. And let's just get on WhatsApp together so that we can stay in touch and make sure that just so that you can go, on a Monday, you can go, Ron, listen, I just finished off this presentation. If you want to do it this week, we can do it then. And we can just get it rolling, because for information on what I will say is the next great conspiracy for people, just like the pizza parties were a conspiracy, just like the man on the island was a conspiracy, just like X, Y, and Z was a conspiracy. How long before you guys in the side chat are saying, we told you so. We told you so. Arcs, we've just discovered this, and Arcs, everything he was saying was right. How long? Because it's coming. It's coming.
I mean, a lot of it's already here, it's like those files have been pretty vindicating for me. Thank you.
Freaking files are bonkers, man. Like 3 million files, and the ones they released, what the hell did they not release, bro? Like if the jerky and taking down 90% of Hollywood and the business world was the good batch of files, it doesn't.
Yeah, well, part of why they're doing this is to traumatize us.
Yep, of course,
and to make this normalized and try to get us kind of accept it. But I don't think it's going the way that they planned. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh yeah, they're regretting giving us the internet. That's what they're doing. They're going, I told you this was bad idea.
But they think that they're about to turn on their AI supercomputer and slave us all with it.
Well, but I can hear them in the board meeting. Like, no, listen, we need them all staying inside and not traveling. Let's give them the internet and they'll sit at home and stare at the computer. Well, yeah, we did. But it turns out we started talking. It turns out someone made a chat room it turns out all those AOL CDs that were getting sent out in the 90s, we all put them in our computers and started talking. And now, here we are. Okay, the evidence is flowing, the disclosure, the awakenings, it's happening more and more each day. And people like yourself, man, you're the people that bring to light the things that might get questioned, might get ridiculed, might get knocked back. And then all of a sudden, we're 15 years ahead and people are apologizing in your comment section. You know what I'm saying?
That's already happened a few times.
I'm glad, man. Well, look, I'll get producer Sarah to send over that number. Please, Ark, just know, if anything, you need anything between now and Sarah sending that over to you, just let Sarah know. We're here if we can do anything for you. Would love to have you back to talk about the Montag project and anything else. We here support you, brother, and we're not here to judge, ridicule, or take anything away. Everything, there's so many things that you've said are the same things that other individuals who have gone through this horrible trauma have said. So thank you so much for being so brave, and thank you so much for being here, brother. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing you again.
All right. Thank you, everyone on the side chat. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to the Shaun Attwood channel. Thank you to everybody at home. When we talk about survivors and we talk about this level of cabal ritual abuse, people get confused, right? Because there's a big difference between hocus pocus and magic and altars and science and computers and technology. And it's interesting how humans merging with technology, religions and spirituality merging with technology seems to be the path that these individuals want to push us down. And first they got us worshiping our phones. They got us staying inside. They got us disconnecting from each other. I wonder if the day will come where we'll all have our neurochips, right? And hey, you want a little bit more community? Well, for just $8 a month, you can upgrade your chip to just get along with your community just a little bit more. If not, please stay inside and deal with the advertising that will be coming every 5 minutes because you're on the basic plan. It's bonkers, but it's 100% fathomable. And when you look at consciousness, as Ark was saying, as a shiftable blip of information. Why is that so hard to understand? Like, if I was to take a large piece, like a large cone of paper, and a needle and a ball, like a tube of wax, and I scream into that cone and I turn the wax, the needle will move along that wax and scratch the sound of my scream into it. And then I can take that wax and I can put it on a record player and it will replay my scream. That mind-blowing piece of science changed the world. And that was a dude screaming in a cone. One day, moving consciousness is going to be considered a simplistic task like screaming into a cone. That's how records work. Yes. The sound is played and it's scratched into the plate, and then the plate is pressed into the vinyl. It's mad. Who discovered milk? Do you know what I mean? Who's like, oh, there's an udder, let's try that. Who's like, oh, I wonder if sound will stick to this wax. Mad. It's bonkers. So anyway, look, thank you so much for all of you coming and supporting my shows on Shaun Attwood channel, on the ProjectROOQ channel. I just want to say a big shout out to the mods, a big shout out to the Shaun Attwood crew, and a big shout out to my little ProjectROOQ family who are over there. We've got a live show tomorrow looking at what's going on in the UK, and I'm going to get a stream up for the weekend and members night sorted out for next week. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for your support. I've had a pretty interesting and rough couple of years, and this is the one thing that's kind of propped me up. A big shout out to Shane, producer Sarah. If it wasn't for them, I would have fallen at the wayside under the complexities of life. And sometimes people are very easy to criticize and say when someone's done something wrong. And I like to believe that you can never tell someone how grateful you are for them enough. And for all of you and the Shaun Attwood team and the producers, I just want to say thank you, because when you look around sometimes and realize that there's not a lot left, you learn to appreciate the things that are there. And I just want to say thank you to all of you. So I will see y'all tomorrow, and I hope you have a great night, and thank you all. Please make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.